Rudi, no surprise, safe to say that this was going to happen, whether it was this weekend or if another loss came against Philadelphia on home soil, that it would have happened after that game. Safe to say?
Yeah, that's pretty safe to say. I think the results have been poor over the last few weeks, and more troublingly, the players seem to have given up on Nelsen over the past few weeks as well, leading to those results. So it was coming, and I think anybody who's watching the team can kind of see that. And even Nelsen himself, the way he kind of lashed out against Bezbatchenko there the other night, he could see it coming as well. So
let's talk about that, Rudi, because I was at the press conference the next day, Sunday, at the Kia Training Center, and Tim Bezbatchenko said that he didn't hear of the comments till after the game, a bit while after that, and knew nothing about those comments. In his mind, and his decision was already made up that Ryan was going. I kind of believe that, because I think that he had seen the team was sliding, especially on home soil. There was no imagination, no rhythm. It looked like the team had given up, and especially in the locker room, we heard all sorts of rumblings. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not too sure he didn't hear those comments beforehand, but I think he made his mind up apart from those comments. I think Bezbatchenko was being a little bit diplomatic when he said he didn't hear those. Everybody connected with Toronto FC had heard those comments at that point, so it's kind of weird that he wouldn't have heard it. But yeah, no, I agree with you that he had already made up his mind at that point, and he just he let Nelsen know that he was on a short leash, and that 3-0 performance where nobody seemed like they wanted to play was the one that the nail in the coffin.
There was two guys that did want to play. You're at the TFC home games 99% of the time. I try to make it out at least 50% of the time. And you have seen this team game in and game out on home soil. And to me, what sticks out is this, Rudi. A former defender, the former head coach at TFC, was in the Premier League. A former World Cup player with New Zealand. And in the Olympics, on and on. And the back end of TFC was absolutely brutal. I'll give him credit for one thing and one thing only. He did give the opportunity to Daniil Henry. And yes, a lot of people like to take shots at him, but I think he has improved. To me, that will be the lasting thing in many TFC fans, was the back that he couldn't take care of.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you think that... as you mentioned, a guy who's played in the Premier League, who played in the World Cup, played in the Olympics, played at all the highest levels of the game that you can play at, as a central defender, would fix his central defense first. Of course, you can always say there's injuries that are causing some of those things, and that to a degree that's true. But I think it's a very small degree. I think it's a lack of organization and tactical know-how, and it reflected itself on the field. And as you mentioned, Daniil Henry, he's a keeper. He's going to be a guy who's going to be around for a long time, unless he gets sold off, of course, to bigger and better things. But he's a guy they can build around, and I think they're really missing Stephen Caldwell back there as well, a guy who organizes and a guy who shows those young kids where to go and what to do when the going gets tough. So. Yeah, I'd say it's probably about 10% injuries and 90% on other things. Let's put it that way.
Rudi, before we talk about the foe, I can't go without letting you give me your thoughts on why, again, Jason Bent escapes not getting the axe like the rest of them. I like Jason. Nice guy, humble guy. He's worked hard. But if you're going to clean house, clean it completely. Why has Jason Bent escaped?
I think Greg Vanney rates him. I think Greg likes what he brings to the table, and I see no problem with that. It doesn't matter whether he was there or not before, because I think that Greg Vanney had the decision to bring in his own assistants, and he thought Jason Bent was a guy who can help him out. And if that's what Vanney's thinking, then it's his right to make that call as the new coach. So I have no problems with Jason Bent staying. I actually said this a few times over the past couple of days. That I think that he was the guy who was most likely to stay, just because when you look at the training sessions and you look at the pregame sessions, he was always the guy who was kind of running things while some of the other assistant coaches weren't really doing much. So I'm not too surprised that he stood by. And as I said, it seems to be Vanney's choice to keep him on, so I don't have a problem with that.